You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Rizzoli Isles After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Rizzoli Isles After Show.
Hello, everyone. Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another Rizzoli Isles after show for AFTERBUZZ TV, Season 4, Episode 9, No One Mourns the Wicked. I am Tiona Hobson, and joining me tonight I have...
Jenifer Golden. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Sadly, Crystal could not be with us tonight, and I think we should start the show off. I'm sure everyone out there has heard by now that Lee Thompson Young, who plays Detective Frost on Rizzoli Isles yesterday, was found dead in his apartment. So we're offering our condolences to his family and friends and his castmates and the crew, just everyone affected by this. I mean, it's really devastating. It was really hard to watch tonight's episode.
Really hard to watch. Seeing him, living and walking around and acting on this show that we love so much, and it's hard, obviously, because we don't know what was going through his head at the time, but we know him as this, Frost character that's happy and smiley, and I think even last week we were saying how he smiles so much lately on the show, actually. Mm-hmm. Just to hear this news it's devastating, and I don't know the right words to say in this kind of circumstance, but it's just very sad.
It is very sad, and we are going to talk more about this a little bit later on in our show. We are going to do our best to try and cover this episode in the best way possible, because we do still want to give you guys, our fans out there, the show, our recap of the episode and everything like that. So again, our sympathies are with everyone affected by this. With that being said,
the episode tonight was the dark episode that we've sort of been waiting for, which is kind of ironic that it happened, the timing that it did. And this is already a dark week for Rizzoli Isles, being that they lost a cast member and for such dark reasons. But this episode was really, really dark with the subject of the serial killers.
Yes. We have Dr. Nolan there, who has convinced Jane and Maura to do a presentation at the, what was it called? The Law Enforcement Symposium, where they use very life-like recreations of crime scenes and kind of go over it for detectives and cops around the world all come together for the symposium. And we meet Dr. Nolan when she comes to Maura's house for dinner before this even happens.
Which, of course, true to form, she is the first person we meet post-murder. And we, obviously tried to figure it out. And we thought it was actually first Jack, her silent assistant.
Which it kind of was.
It was him. We were right.
It was him. And when we were at the crime scene, Maura's measured the temperatures of the bodies and said that they died roughly 2 hours beforehand. And then later on, they're talking to Dr. Nolan, and she says the line, "I can't believe this happened while we were sitting at dinner." And I turned to Jen and I was like, wait, no one told her that these bodies were only 2 hours old.
Right. I was sort of giving the writers credit by saying, maybe we just assume they had already briefed her or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Because her son was out doing the murders while they were sitting at dinner, which was weird because did we see her son, who we find out is her son later, do we see her two assistants leave the dinner?
Yes, they
just brought her there.
They brought her there, and then they asked, what time should we come back to get you? And that's when Jane and Maura are like, hey, we could just take you with us.
Right.
No need for the hoopla. So she has this book called The Faces of Evil that she's been promoting and everyone's been buying. It's about 3 different serial killers and basically details like how they did their crimes, the psychological analysis behind it all, and
the statistics.
Yeah, all the statistics, and how they were caught, how they slipped up to get caught. So basically, if you think about it in this way, it's kind of a manual for other serial killers,
right?
You know, what to do, and then, you know, avoid this step because then you won't get caught like this person did.
Except that she got caught.
They always get caught. Remember that, kids.
Yes, remember that. If you take away anything from this episode, it was that. It's just kind of crazy. Like, they do say that, and she even says that serial killers tend to, you know, put their stamp on things, or like, you know, kind of want to be seen and heard and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But she wrote about 3 other people instead of herself.
Yeah. Maybe to keep the focus off of her. And she was smart because they talk about, you know, having their own significant differences, and hers was the burn marks.
Right.
And the symbol that was on the burn marks,
Mm-hmm.
which took us a while to figure out where it came from and everything. We'll get into that. But, you know, everyone's working on this for so late, and then Jane goes home by herself, and we have all these conversations about Hoyt and how it's a copycat because the crime scene was in the same way as his used to be, and it's straight out of the book. And she has what we find out was a nightmare. But
Thank God, I couldn't watch it.
Jen was scaring me more than the episode was by screaming every time any noise was made.
I did. And I also looked away during that whole dream sequence because I just couldn't handle it. I like looked down at my phone. I was looking around the room. I was like, I can listen, but I just can't see it.
Yes. Well, Hoyt comes to her in a dream form and has a little kid with him, with a puppy, which Dr. Nolan had talked about. Why she got into her line of work was that a 5-year-old boy was brought in to her to talk about he had killed his puppy. And so that's kind of how she got down the line of, you know, working with serial killers. So I thought it was interesting that in the dream, Hoyt's there and he has a little boy with a puppy who he's about to tell the boy to kill the puppy.
So wait, so when Nolan was not Nolan, but she was Appleton, when she was 14, that's when she killed her parents.
That's when, yeah.
Right, okay.
Because her dad was sexually abusing her.
Right.
And because he was high up at the hospital, no one seemed to care.
Right, and he could cover it up, and there were no records because he could just, you know, get her checked out and not put it anywhere. And then her mom also was just so enamored by her lifestyle that she ignored it as well, and was in denial, I guess. So it makes sense why, or I guess if you want to say it makes sense why she took his cufflink, that is the medical symbol, and it's basically her sticking it to the system.
Sticking it to the man.
Right.
And the medical symbols, I don't know why I wrote these down because I have no idea what she was talking about when Maura was trying to figure out which one it was. And she was like, it's either Caduceus or Asclepius.
Asclepius? I don't know.
Asclepius. I'm probably butchering that. But there are apparently medical symbols that the victims all had that were similar.
But did they ever say, when they showed those 6 pictures of those unsolved crimes, what the connection was? Because I know that it was a personal thing with Corsac when she went after him. And then it was also her parents, so that was those 2 murders. But then what about the other 4?
You know what? I don't think they ever said anything.
Because they said that none of the people were law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they said that they were medical.
Yeah, I remember Jane said the rest of them were random.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe we missed something, guys. If you guys know who the other 4 families or victims were, let us know. You can go onto our iTunes and you can find Rizzoli Isles After Show, and you can leave a comment down there and let us know. Or you can go on YouTube. We read our comments on YouTube as well.
We do.
And let us know there. You can also tweet at us. And since you're online already, make sure you check out serialbuddies.com. And you go and check out this hilarious movie that has Beth Bears, Artie Lang, Christopher McDonald, Maria Menounos. Duh. It's hilarious. It's Dexter meets Dumb and Dumber. I can talk, I swear. And it's a great serial buddy comedy. So make sure you check that out. And when you support serial buddies, you help out by supporting AfterBuzz TV as well. So we thank you in advance for that.
Yeah, and if you need something lighthearted after this very dark episode and you want to keep on the serial killer theme, might as well watch that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well. Have some fun with
Make
it.
a night of it. Serial killer night.
I like that.
Thanks.
So then we have the second victim in our whole thing is this Detective Fletcher guy who, let's be honest, he was kind of a tool.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he got what was coming, but he was just really rude and I didn't like him.
No, and
I didn't want him to die, but
right. I just thought they were setting it up to be a distraction from who the real killer would be.
yeah, I thought they were going to chase him as well, they did kind of chase him for a little bit as the suspect, but
Right.
before they could even get to him again, he's behind a dumpster on the campus where the symposium's happening, dead, and his ears have been severed, his mouth is stuffed, and his eyes were like gouged out. I didn't look at it.
See no evil, speak no evil.
Yeah, which was the second killer in the book. I wrote down his name. I can't find it. Yeah, so I don't know the name of the second killer.
I don't remember it either.
But he was a guy who, I guess Fletcher, was taken to this trash can dumpster because he doesn't have his gun drawn or anything. So they're like, it's someone who he either knew or trusted or didn't feel threatened by.
Right. Which would be the son of the doctor. Because where was she during this?
She was at the station with Maura because they had just done the test. So she was still going over all the data that they were compiling.
And then weren't they at dinner at some point? They were at the bar?
They were at
She and Maura.
the bar.
Did anything happen then?
Cops walked in.
That was it, right?
Yeah. She probably said something dark and sinister.
Yeah, I mean, watching those interviews was so crazy.
Yeah, the interviews, the DVDs that Dr. Nolan had Jack bring over of all her interviews with all these serial killers. And why would Jane put herself through that?
To watch Hoyt versus somebody else, like, I just don't know. But how did she put it together?
Well, Corsac.
Oh, because she figured out that it was...
she changed her name.
Well, no, she first figured out that when they were talking, Hoyt and Nolan, that they were talking about some other people that had died. Mm-hmm. Shepard and somebody else.
Yes.
And so they were talking about that, and she knew who they were talking about. Mm-hmm. So then Jane realized that that murder was part of this whole story. And it was an unsolved murder, so.
It was an unsolved murder. So we have Corsac and Dr. Conrad taking off to go feed his dog. Dr. Nolan. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Conrad. Because her name was Victoria Conrad, and her former name, or her new name is... Anyways.
Anyway.
Long night. So they go off to feed the dogs at home. They send Jack ahead to the symposium to set up for her because she has to be there at 4. And while they're at his house is when we finally figure out who is actually in charge here, because she ties up Corsac and Jack is there and they're torturing him, about to kill him, and she starts spilling the beans. One thing that serial killers and TV shows do that I realize is that they talk so much that they give themselves time to get caught.
Right.
Because
they don't just go straight for it, which is okay with me that they get caught. But also, how did she know that he was going to go home to feed his dogs?
Because she said you do the same thing every day. You live alone, you go home at 3 o'clock to feed your dogs, and he has a very structured life. So
I guess she'd already spent a couple days with him, so she probably knew what he was going to do.
And she holds him responsible for Hoyt not being able to finish his work because Corsac saved Jane that first time when he was torturing her. So they have a struggle. Well, actually, Corsac does the smart thing here to buy himself more time. He starts getting in Jack's head.
Right.
About, oh, you're 25 and you're going to let your mom tell you what to do. Your mom is really the one controlling this whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, I thought you were going to do this on your own. She was going to leave you to do it on your own, but she's telling you what to do. And then the mom, of course, says, do it. And then
he turns and screams.
And then she shoots him.
She shoots him.
Her own son. Well, that's because she's a sociopath or a psychopath.
Yeah, and she's also trained him. They have no emotions. I mean, she's the one who trained him when she first got him to kill a puppy.
Right.
And to not feel anything. So it's crazy getting into the head of a serial killer like this, because I just don't understand. I have a hard time understanding the motive behind it, and sometimes
right.
I guess there's not a motive.
But I mean, okay, they say that they explain that a lot of serial killers are the victim of abuse. Mm-hmm. But you were abused by one particular also crazy person. So, you could, if you were a logical person, you would look at that and say that was just that one person's problem. Mm-hmm. Not everybody in the world is that way. I don't know, but that there are serial killers because something's not right with them. So, and I'm sure they don't have health care or whatever it is that is like, checking out their brain, because they took her when she was 14 and put her in
foster care.
Oh, foster care. So they didn't
they didn't know at the time, but she killed both their parents. So she
was the actual
she
murderer.
had nowhere else to go.
Right.
And she took her dad's cufflink so that she could have that forever.
But it's not like they then put her in therapy and were like, hey, little girl, your parents were killed and you were hiding in the closet, because she wasn't actually hiding in the closet. But wouldn't they have put her in some kind of psych? I guess not.
I guess they didn't realize.
The daughter, though, of a doctor, this is me again being the logic police, but the daughter of a doctor, I feel like would have all of the resources in the world. Like a family member or someone would have taken her and then put her in some kind of intensive therapy. I don't know. I guess not.
That's what you would hope would happen. Doesn't always happen. And people didn't know the extent because they didn't know. Well, I guess the hospital staff who was helping cover up the abuse all the time, and the fact that she had a son at 14, I guess they knew about the abuse, but maybe, because she then became a warden of the state, that she didn't, no one knew about this part.
And also, though, if you, not that I know much about this, but if you have an incestual childbirth, that the son was obviously a product of her father, wouldn't he have some health issues? Aside from being crazy, because we see that he is. But, I don't know.
I feel like it's scientifically to do with chromosomes or something.
Yeah.
That's what usually happens, but I'm going to say that it's not all the time.
Or for the sake of this episode, it's not.
Yeah, and because back in the day, people used to marry their cousins and stuff all the time. And
wow, what an interesting episode. Who sits around? I want to know what they're what they look like in the writer's room when they're like, okay, so the killer is going to be this lady. Her secret assistant is going to be her son. That then she had him because of this. She was a different person. She had a different name. It was when she was 14. Go.
Yeah, and I like how her publicist kind of disappeared after a while, because I thought he was going to be a part of it too. I thought maybe him and Jack were on a team together. They were the killing team. Apparently it's better to bond with your son by serial killing people, but
and she just let them shoot him or take him or kill him.
She shot him.
Yeah.
I can't believe she shot him and then said,
let him die.
That's pretty harsh for a mom.
You knew the whole time it was going to be her.
I did.
You did.
I did. I had a gut feeling about that.
It just makes more sense in a twist in the story.
Yeah, because you even said it. That's the
last person you'd expect.
The last person you expect.
Yeah.
Because she's very close. Even I think Mama Rizzoli was a little suspicious. Well,
she was very
in the beginning. She's asking all these questions. She's like, "Well, why would you want to focus on serial killers?" And I loved the warm moment that we did have with Mama Rizzoli and Frankie tonight. Jane hasn't been sleeping because she's having those PTSD dreams again about Hoyt, and they both show up at her house with some food and some chocolate
to take care of her.
Keep
her company.
Gotta love that family.
Yeah. I'm surprised that this woman didn't want to kill Jane to complete the work of Hoyt.
That's who I thought she should go after. Because she went after Corsac because he stopped it, but why didn't you finish what he started?
Right. That would have made more sense versus a stepping stone to it. I don't know.
Unless she was still saving Jane for him.
Maybe.
Because, she thinks he should finish her.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe he told her in those interviews, don't finish Jane. I want her.
But he died.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a intense episode.
It was an intense episode. And then at the end, I loved the bonding scene, because everyone comes in and saves Corsac, and then they're all hanging out on his porch, and,
Playing with
Frankie and Frost start talking about, any hot neighbors, and it's like
Right.
there's 3 sisters next door. So that was kind of fun. I was like, oh, are they going to go have another love triangle for them?
Speaking of love triangles, so on Sunday, I ran into the lovely lady who played Frost's love interest on the show, the coffee girl, who called Jane a bitch, and then they went on a date at the precinct, actually. So she said she's going to come on our show soon. She's one more episode, I think, for the season, and so the night that her episode airs, she will come on.
Sounds exciting.
Something to look forward to.
It is some good news.
Yeah.
So that about wraps up our episode recap. Now we wanted to do a little special segment in honor of Lee Thompson Young. We wanted to do a special little moment of silence for him, just to let him know that we're thinking of him. All right, and then Jen, I'm going to turn it over to you for your information that you have for us.
So if you haven't read the stories yet, or you just heard, that Lee died, he was found yesterday in his house because he didn't show up to work, actually, to go to set, with a gunshot wound, and no note, no cause of death, but it looks like it was suicide. And, that's really all they know as of yet. TNT released a statement on their website that was from Janet Tomorrow, and I'll just read it. Everyone at Rizzoli Isles is devastated by the news of the passing of Lee Thompson Young. We are beyond heartbroken at the loss of this sweet, gentle, good-hearted, intelligent man. He was truly a member of our family. Lee will be cherished and remembered by all who knew him and loved him both on and off screen for his positive energy, infectious smile, and soulful grace. We send our deepest condolences and thoughts to his family, to his friends, and most especially to his beloved mother. Also, Rizzoli Isles shut down production after his suicide yesterday, August 19th. So they don't know yet when they will be going back to set to continue shooting.
I think it's something that, will depend on the cast and crew, and
Right.
trying to figure out, I know it's hard to think about, but how to figure out how to wrap up his storyline.
Right.
Glee's gone through a similar thing with Corey, finding a respectable way to honor and celebrate this person and this character that people have grown to love and enjoy watching weekly. So in the meantime, I haven't heard that they're not going to be airing the rest of the episodes, like that they're going to get off schedule or anything.
No,
so.
I mean, the thing is that those episodes are shot, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, like they played one tonight. We were sort of wondering whether or not they would actually have an episode tonight. They would probably finish out the season, and then they just have to probably adjust what they do with the next season. And that actually, is another piece of information that our favorite show got renewed for a 5th season, which is bittersweet.
Yes, it is now.
Because now we know that Frost will not be back because of this tragedy. And
I know when we started the episode, we were wondering if they were going to do any sort of title card or anything for him. So it was nice to see that at the end, the little in memoriam for him, and a couple clips of him being on there. I know I teared up while
I could have
watching
seen
it.
100 more. They showed 2, and what was interesting is that they picked somber moments of his, not him smiling. I think that, obviously it's a very somber time, so those made sense. I could have watched, 100 of those, though.
Yes.
He has been a wonderful part of the show. I watch because I love, his character, and he just seemed like such a genuinely nice person. You loved him from the famous Jet Jackson.
Yes, that 1998 Disney Channel Jet Jackson, and then Johnny Tsunami, the movie. I started watching Rizzoli Isles because I found out he was going to be on the show, and I was very excited. He's my first big girl crush. I had dreams of one day meeting him. I know that I was taller than him, but I was willing to work with that. So yeah, it's definitely, you know, when you have a figure like that who's been in your life, you might not know them directly, but they're on your TV every week, and you know, you feel like you know them through the characters that they play, because he's been on a lot of television, a lot of movies. You feel like you know them, and you know, to hear what happened, it still affects you. So I mean, to his family and friends, know that, you know, the fans, we really do wish you well wishes, and we're here. We loved him, and he'll always be for a part of my life, and he might not know that, but hopefully he does now.
Yeah. Well, that's the information I have. If we find out more, obviously, you know, we will try and update everyone weekly as, you know, information comes out. And if you know anything, obviously we'd love to hear from you, and we know you loved his character as well.
Yes. All right, well, let's move on from here and let's get into our predictions for next week.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
I'm going to be honest. That preview that they showed us, I was still kind of thinking about Lee, so
Yeah.
I didn't really absorb what I saw.
It looked like it would be a good
I think I saw an
episode.
explosion.
I
making
don't
that up?
remember. I think you might be making.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I don't remember.
Maybe
but
I dreamed that.
it looked like it might be another dark episode.
Yes.
But then again, all the previews look dark. The show's about murders and crime and stuff. So.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, we see the other detective is back.
Oh, Amari Nolasco's character,
Yes.
Martinez
is back, and
I think they're undercover.
they're undercover. So maybe we'll get to see Frankie in a little bit of action, because I know he's been kind of working under Martinez
Right.
when he's not with Jane. So hoping to see a little Frankie action, you know, out there getting dirty.
Yeah, it seems like this episode is going to be close to home, probably, because if they have to go undercover, you know, there's safety issues involved, and that's their job, so they have to go undercover.
Yes. So that about wraps it up for us tonight, guys. Jen, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jen the Jew.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. We will be back next week. Crystal Lee should be here as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AFTERBUZZ TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.